These predictions weren't made by influencers. They came from top engineers and AI researchers. And what they claim will happen by 2026 is already breaking the internet. Some of it sounds impossible. Some of it sounds terrifying. Join us and let's explore the most shocking AI predictions for 2026. Let's go.
Number 10. Huawei Ascend AI chips challenge NVIDIA dominance. China's efforts to build a self-sufficient AI chip ecosystem will show visible progress that begins eroding NVIDIA's long-term market position. This doesn't mean Chinese chips suddenly match NVIDIA's top-end GPUs on raw performance, but it does mean they become good enough for a lot of applications, while the surrounding software infrastructure improves dramatically. Compiler tools, framework compatibility, deployment documentation, and support ecosystems matter just as much as hardware specs. If a chip is 80% as powerful but costs half as much and integrates smoothly with local cloud platforms, plenty of companies will choose it. China is motivated by necessity because export restrictions cut off access to cutting-edge American chips, forcing them to accelerate domestic development. State backing provides massive resources for R&D, and Chinese tech giants like Alibaba, Tencent, and Huawei are pouring money into in-house chip designs. Progress compounds over time as engineers gain experience, manufacturing processes improve, and software matures. By 2026, we'll see Chinese companies demonstrating AI applications running entirely on domestic hardware that perform well enough to make international observers nervous. This changes global strategy because countries and companies start planning for a future where NVIDIA isn't the only game in town. European governments might push for homegrown chip initiatives. American policymakers might reconsider export restrictions if they're accelerating competition instead of preventing it. NVIDIA still wins on the absolute frontier for cutting-edge research, but the market fragments into tiers where domestic alternatives gain traction, especially in price-sensitive segments and regions worried about geopolitical supply chain risks.
Number 9. Amazon battles undetectable AI fake reviews. The entire online review ecosystem will collapse when AI-generated fake reviews become impossible to distinguish from real ones, and major e-commerce platforms will have no effective defense. Right now, fake reviews are still somewhat detectable through patterns like accounts that only review one brand, generic language that doesn't mention specific product details, or suspicious timing where hundreds of 5-star reviews appear within hours. AI changes that completely. The system generates reviews that mention specific features, compare the product to alternatives, include minor complaints that make the review seem balanced, reference realistic purchase contexts like "bought this for my daughter's apartment," and vary writing style enough that pattern detection fails. The AI can create entire fake personas with review history spanning years across multiple products to build credibility. Amazon, Walmart, and other platforms try fighting back with verification systems, but those get gamed too. Sellers who want to boost ratings just deploy better AI. The arms race escalates until platforms essentially give up on review authenticity and shift to other trust signals. Consumers stop believing reviews entirely, which destroys the utility of one of the internet's most important information sources. Brands that built reputations on genuine positive reviews get drowned out by competitors willing to cheat. The only winners are verification companies selling tools that claim to spot fakes, but those tools are fighting a losing battle. Shopping decisions move back toward brand recognition and influencer recommendations, which are easier to manipulate in different ways.
I'm going to ask you a simple question. Are you a naturally curious person? If you're watching, I'm pretty sure the answer is yes. This space is made for people like us. To ensure you're always part of this community and receive all our latest discoveries, you just need to do one thing: subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to stay connected with us. Okay, now that you're part of our Legion of the Curious, let's move on to the next item. Number 8. Zaha Hadid architects release first AI-designed building. A major city will approve construction of a skyscraper designed entirely by AI, and the building will look like nothing architects have ever created because the system optimized for structural efficiency, material costs, energy performance, and aesthetic appeal, without being constrained by traditional design thinking. The shape might be asymmetrical in ways that feel wrong until you understand why every curve serves a purpose. Windows could be placed in patterns that maximize natural light while minimizing heat gain. The floor plan might spiral or stack in unexpected configurations because the AI calculated that this layout reduces elevator wait times and improves emergency evacuation. Materials get used in combinations humans wouldn't think to try because the system ran simulations on thousands of options. This isn't just unusual, it's optimal in ways human architects couldn't achieve because they're limited by convention, training, and the mental overhead of considering every variable simultaneously. The AI doesn't care about rules that exist for historical reasons. It only cares about performance metrics. Architecture firms panic because if clients realize AI can design better buildings faster and cheaper, the profession changes completely. Some architects embrace it as a tool that handles calculations while humans focus on vision. Others see it as replacement. The building becomes a tourist attraction because people want to see what AI-designed space feels like. Critics call it soulless, supporters call it the future. Either way, construction companies start demanding AI involvement in every major project because the cost savings and performance gains are impossible to ignore.
Number 7. Otter. AI privacy lawsuit over meeting recordings. At least one major privacy disaster involving always listening AI tools will dominate headlines and spark serious legal consequences. Meeting assistants and AI note takers are everywhere now because they're incredibly useful, but the consent model is broken. One person in a call activates their AI assistant, and suddenly everyone else in that conversation is being recorded, transcribed, and analyzed without explicitly agreeing. The official policy says get permission, but real-world behavior is chaos. Sales teams use them on client calls without mentioning it because they don't want to seem intrusive. Executives use them in strategy sessions that include confidential merger discussions. Therapists have accidentally recorded patient sessions. The disaster will probably come from either a massive data breach where recordings leak or a legal discovery process where someone realizes conversations they thought were private are now evidence in court. Maybe it's a divorce proceeding where one spouse finds out the other recorded every argument using an AI tool. Maybe it's a whistleblower case where corporate misconduct got captured because someone's laptop was running an always-on transcription service. Medical conversations, legal discussions, therapy sessions, business negotiations, all of it could be sitting in databases that most people don't even realize exist. The cultural impact is that people start assuming they're being recorded by default, which fundamentally changes how they communicate. Conversations become more guarded. Trust erodes. People develop new etiquette around announcing recording status the same way they used to announce when someone else joined a call. Lawsuits pile up claiming violations of wiretapping laws, HIPAA, attorney-client privilege, and employment protections.
Number 6. Deepfake identity fraud collapses major court case. A high-profile legal case will completely collapse when investigators discover that a key witness, plaintiff, or business partner never actually existed. Not a stolen identity, a fully synthetic person built with AI from the ground up. This person has a complete digital history stretching back years with social media posts, tagged photos at events, LinkedIn connections, email correspondence, even video call appearances. It seemed perfectly normal at the time. Identity fraud is already exploding with AI tools making it easier to generate convincing fake documents, spoofed verification photos, and deepfake videos. Security researchers have been warning about synthetic identities becoming harder to detect as the technology improves. Now apply that to the legal system, which runs on documents, testimony, and verification processes designed for a world where creating a fake person required massive effort. A contract dispute involves a consultant who supposedly advised on a deal. A startup litigation involves a co-founder who claims they were cheated. A real estate transaction involves a buyer who made offers and signed paperwork. The synthetic person fooled banks, lawyers, notaries, and business partners because the digital trail looked legitimate, and the video meetings used deepfake technology good enough to pass casual scrutiny. The case falls apart when someone finally demands an in-person meeting, or when a background check company uses advanced verification and discovers the entire identity is fabricated. The fallout is massive because it exposes how vulnerable legal processes are to AI-generated fraud. Courts scramble to implement new verification standards. Law firms panic about liability. The public realizes that trusting documents and video calls isn't enough anymore.
Number 5. NVIDIA H100 GPU shortage reaches critical levels. Every tech company right now is burning through computing resources like there's no tomorrow. The demand for AI processing isn't slowing down because companies moved past the "wow, this is cool" phase into the "we need this running 24/7" phase. Banks want AI checking fraud patterns in real time. Hospitals want systems analyzing medical images faster than radiologists can blink.
Retail chains want inventory predictions that update every hour based on weather, trends, and competitor pricing. That's not occasional usage. That's constant hammering on servers that never sleep. The wild part is that even when chips get more efficient, usage explodes faster than the savings. A cheaper model just means someone runs it 1,000,000 more times because now they can afford to automate customer service for every single interaction instead of just the complicated ones. Agent systems multiply this pressure because they don't give one answer and stop. They check themselves, search for additional context, verify facts against databases, generate 3 options, evaluate each one, then pick the best and explain why. One user question triggers maybe 15 computational steps behind the scenes. NVIDIA already admitted they're sold out of certain GPU configurations months in advance, and that's with them producing chips at record speed. Cloud providers are building new data centers specifically for AI workloads, and those facilities are getting reserved before construction finishes. The bottleneck isn't whether companies want more computing power, it's whether the supply chain can keep up with orders that look less like business purchases and more like desperate scrambles for survival.
Number 4. Big Pharma acquires isomorphic labs. A major pharmaceutical company will make a significant acquisition of a leading AI-focused protein or antibody design startup, signaling that this technology has moved from experimental to strategic. AI-driven molecular design has progressed from impressive demos to systems that actually discover promising drug candidates faster than traditional methods. Companies like Isomorphic Labs, Generate Biomedicines, and others have demonstrated that AI can predict protein structures, design novel antibodies, and identify drug candidates with properties that would take years to find through conventional screening. Big Pharma is notoriously slow to adopt new technology, but when they believe something is core to competitive advantage, partnerships aren't enough anymore. They want to own the platform, control the IP, lock in the talent, and prevent competitors from accessing the same capability. Acquisition becomes the fastest path to internalizing a strategic advantage. The deal will probably be announced with language about accelerating our pipeline and transforming drug discovery, and the price tag will be high enough to shock people who haven't been paying attention to how much value this technology creates. Developing a new drug costs billions and takes over a decade on average. If AI can cut that timeline by even 20% or increase the success rate of candidates entering trials, the ROI is enormous. The acquisition also sends a signal to the rest of the industry that this is real, which triggers more deals. Pharma companies that wait risk falling behind competitors who integrated AI capabilities earlier.
Number 3. Sam Altman leaves OpenAI CEO position. A leadership transition at OpenAI becomes increasingly likely as the company shifts from founder-driven growth mode into operational maturity. This wouldn't be a scandal or a firing, it would be a planned succession, recognizing that different leadership styles fit different company stages. Building hype, securing funding, and setting ambitious visions requires one type of leader. Managing massive infrastructure, navigating regulatory complexity, overseeing enterprise partnerships, and delivering consistent profitability requires different skills. Tech history is full of charismatic founders stepping back when companies need disciplined execution more than bold bets. Larry Page and Sergey Brin brought in Eric Schmidt to run Google's growth phase. Steve Jobs returned to Apple, but eventually handed operations to Tim Cook. The pattern repeats because scaling from innovative startup to reliable institution creates tension between vision and operations. OpenAI is dealing with enormous pressures that go way beyond making better models. They're managing relationships with Microsoft, responding to regulatory scrutiny from multiple governments, handling enterprise contracts worth hundreds of millions, defending against lawsuits over training data, and trying to maintain safety standards while competitors move fast. That requires operational sophistication, political savvy, and a tolerance for bureaucracy that doesn't always match the personality of someone who thrives on disruption. If Sam steps aside, it would probably be framed as him moving into a chairman or chief scientist role, while someone with deep operational experience takes the CEO position. The company would emphasize continuity and maturity, not crisis.
Number 2. Hollywood deepfake scandal hits Oscar campaign. Major studios are about to face a nightmare scenario where deepfake versions of A-list actors start appearing in unauthorized content right before Oscar campaigns kick off. We're not talking amateur YouTube videos anymore. These will be production-quality deepfakes where someone's face gets mapped on performances they never agreed to, and the technology is so clean that casual viewers can't tell the difference. The motivation is pure chaos mixed with profit. Someone creates a controversial scene using a beloved actor's likeness, drops it online, and watches it spread before anyone can contain it. Maybe it's political content where an actor appears to endorse something they'd never support. Maybe it's adult content that tanks their family-friendly image. Maybe it's just embarrassing footage that becomes a meme and damages their brand right when they're campaigning for awards. Studios and talent agencies already know this is coming because the tools are available to anyone with decent hardware and some technical skill. Defense strategies are weak because you can't sue everyone. Takedown notices take time, and by then the content has already been downloaded and re-uploaded thousands of times. The industry response will probably involve watermarking technology, blockchain verification of authentic content, and legal teams working overtime. Actors will start including deepfake protections in contracts. Insurance policies will cover reputation damage from synthetic content. The public conversation shifts to whether we can trust any video anymore, which creates a bigger crisis because legitimate footage can be dismissed as fake when it's convenient.
Number 1. Tesla Optimus robot demonstrations go viral. Robots are about to become the main attraction at every major industry event, and the demos people see will blow minds, even if the technology isn't perfect yet. The breakthrough isn't mechanical, it's cognitive. A robot that can look at a kitchen it's never seen before, understand voice instructions like put the groceries away, and figure out which items go in the fridge versus the pantry without being programmed for that specific kitchen represents a massive leap. Foundation models trained on diverse data let robots generalize across situations instead of needing months of training for every new environment. Companies will showcase robots handling messy, real-world tasks, like sorting recycling with contaminated items, folding laundry with different fabric types, or assembling furniture from flat-pack boxes with unclear instructions. These demos work because they show adaptability, which is what people actually care about. Nobody expects perfection. They expect the robot to recover when something unexpected happens and keep going. Tesla will show off manufacturing robots that can switch between different car models on the same line without reprogramming. Boston Dynamics will demonstrate warehouse systems where robots coordinate with each other to move pallets around human workers without causing accidents. Even if these systems aren't ready for mass deployment, the demos create momentum. Corporate procurement teams start pilots. Investors pour money into robotics startups. Manufacturing executives panic about competitors getting ahead. The psychological shift happens when people see robots doing things that require judgment and context, not just repetitive motions, because that's when it stops feeling like automation and starts feeling like the future arriving faster than anyone expected.
Still curious? Then don't stop now. The next mystery is already waiting for you. Just click the video on screen. I saved it just for you. See you there, curious one.